In 1964, a selection of the world's finest golfers arrived in London for a new tournament.
This time it's Jack Nicklaus, the Canada Cup winner, former American Open and Masters winner, with his attractive wife Barbara in a smart black and white check suit. Now comes Ken Venturi, American Open champion, and his vivacious wife Connie. Each player has been provided with a chauffeur-driven limousine for his exclusive use throughout the entire week in London. All the players wear a specially designed World Matchplay blazer in navy blue with a gold badge.
Half a century after that first tournament, the Volvo World Matchplay Championship returns to England in October and the London Club. It's a fitting way to mark the 50th anniversary of a tournament which has a unique place in the affections of the world's leading golfers.
It was far from an exhibition. It was probably one of the most tense, fierce competitions, the World Matchplay Championship played at Wentworth in England.
All the best players came from all over the world, and the event was very well received by the public and the press.
The caliber was always first class. You know, they had many of the best players in the world. It was a highly sought after tournament and trophy.
It was special. It was a very special thing with all the people operating there in Wentworth and the enthusiasm of the crowds.
It really was wonderful, and Wentworth is beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful golf course.
Conceived by IMG founder Mark McCormack, fittingly the first tournament was won by his first client, Arnold Palmer.
I can remember most of the holes just talking here to you about the golf course, because it was a pretty distinguishable golf course, and that made it exciting too. You had to play a lot of good shots, and it was a golf course you had to play fairly straight, and that made it fun for me.
The presence of the Big Three ensured the match play quickly became a fixture on the golfing calendar. Initially, with just an 8-man field, its list of winners read like a roll call of greats of the game. Gary Player won the title 5 times between 1965 and 1973.
My memories there are beating Palmer, playing against Jack Nicklaus in the final on 2 occasions, beating him 6-4 and 5-4, particularly when newspapers were unanimous that I would not win. And so I've got great memories of that, being 7 down to Tony Lima after 18 holes. So I went 7 down, and then I got a lot of birdies and came back in almost 64 or 65 and won on the 37th hole. So, wow, you know, when you're 7 down and you can still win. And I remember a man walking behind me in the gallery saying, "Let's go and watch another match, this match is over." And I turned around and I said, "That man, it's not over until the fat lady sings."
Oh, right in the middle. How many of us could have done that?
Gary played very well. He played Wentworth well. Of course, Gary was a good player. I mean, he was a great player. Still a very good player. At 78 years old, he's a terrific player. Gary's and a nice guy. He's been a great friend.
Player's 5th and last title came against Australia's Graham Marsh in 1973, a memorable final that stretched to a record 40 holes.
Oh, I remember a lot about that final. It was a kind of a dramatic event at the time. We had crowd involvement, though. It was a terrific crowd. They were a lot of Aussies in the UK, and South Africans were over there too, and it was a blow by blow, and you could have cut the air with a knife at the end when we were playing, because it was just such an exciting game. Nobody knew who was going to win until the final putt was missed in my case.
Marsh would win himself against Raymond Floyd in 1977, when the field expanded to 16 players, but it remained a select invitational event.
Didn't quite give it enough, but Floyd surrenders.
I would certainly say it was one of the highlights of my career, particularly you never like to say a loss is a good loss, but certainly I think when I did lose to Gary in that 40-hole match, I think that established me on the world scene in many ways, and then to come back and then win it after 2 years break certainly showed, well, it just wasn't a flash in the pan for the 1 year. And so I put it up there very highly. But a wonderful, wonderful tournament, and one that I think every winner treasures somewhere in their career.
The 1980s ushered in an era of dominance by the greatest match play golfer of modern times. Seve Ballesteros won 5 titles. Bernhard Langer lost to him in 2 successive finals.
I always felt I could play well at Wentworth, and I have. I've won, a couple of PGA championships there, and did well in other tournaments, and did well at the match play. Just ran into one of the best match players that ever lived in the name of Seve, and he got the better of me both times.
He was one of those players that could telegraph what he was going to do really well. I mean, you knew just exactly what he was trying to do to the ball. We had a match that neither one of us were one hole up. It was just a really good match all day. He hit one of the greatest shots I have ever seen on the 12th hole, par 5. And he lashed at it off the tee. He was trying to get there in 2, and he pulled it in the trees to the left. I went down there, everybody was sort of waiting to see what he was going to do. So he goes over there, and his ball was right next to a tree. It came out and hooked up the fairway. And I mean, the people that were on my side of the fairway, we were speechless, just speechless. We couldn't, our mouths were open. We could not believe that shot. So, I mean, he eventually beat me. Went up, but to watch him play that close, up close, 36 holes, is one of the really neat things that I ever did. But I admired him tremendously. I really did.
Seve didn't completely dominate the 80s. There was time for some history-making by his contemporaries when Sandy Lyle and Ian Woosnam met in the 1987 final.
Since we've been really kids, Sandy's always whipped my butt, really, what to say over here, and it was nice that there was never a British winner, and it was funny that we're both from the same county. We lived 12 miles away from each other. That one of us was going to be the first Briton to win the World Matchplay, and fortunately it was me, and it was nice to beat my old mate Sandy Lyle, as my mum said.
That made it 4 loss finals for Lyle, but the following year he beat Nick Faldo. After so long waiting for a home winner, the British crowds were suddenly spoiled for choice.
I wasn't always renowned for my great match play ability. I was more a stroke player. So to turn it around and to do well in the match play event, it was obviously a great boost for myself, knowing that I can, if a Ryder Cup comes around, I've had a World Match Play champion.
Faldo won the very next year and again in 1992 with one of the most dominant performances ever seen at the tournament. Already Open champion and world #1, Faldo crushed the opposition, including Jeff Sluman, 8 and 7 in the final.
Demolition man that week. I was really, had it all worked out, playing good. Fanny and I had a great system with the putting and that sort of thing. I was something stupid like 48 under par for 98 holes. Unofficially match play. I was demolished, had no chance with me then. I can say that now.
Over the course of the 90s and on into more recent years, Ernie Els established himself as the most successful player in the history of the tournament, claiming the title a record 7 times. But there was another piece of history in the making when Ian Woosnam beat Padraig Harrington in the 2001 final.
I just kept playing my game, and eventually I run out being a winner 2-1, and it was terrific. I never thought of it being the third time winning obviously, but not in 3 different decades.
Volvo took on title sponsorship, and the championship adapted to the modern era with a new qualification criteria, Champions League-style group matches, and a move to Spain, where the consummate match-play golfer Ian Poulter won in 2011.
Anybody can beat anybody on any given day, but when it's even more satisfying when you beat the best players in the world, and that's certainly what I had to do, and that's what was so nice.
After 3 years in Spain, it was on to Bulgaria, where Graham McDowell won. Coming back to the UK for the 50th anniversary is timely, with prize money of over $3 million and a return to a 16-man field. The Volvo World Matchplay is coming home.
I think that Mark McCormick and his imagination of the World Matchplay certainly turned out to be something that was very interesting to play.
It's not just a normal tournament. It was something different and something special. I like that.
History and tradition are a big thing in golf, and this is a tournament where all the top players, they just couldn't wait to go and play in it.
And the end of it all, to the victor, the spoils.